I did a testing right before this and it was portrait. So I am back. Hopefully it's landscape and it's all right. As I was saying, I have not streamed in a very long time. And I was trying to remember the last time that I did stream. And now I can check on my computer. I think it's been 6 months, at least. 8 months ago. Wow. And I was colouring in Rita Berman then as well. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm really excited to be able to live stream. Hi, Michelle. Thank you for bearing with me. I've got this working now. So, hi, Dawn. I've got this working now, so hopefully it should all be fine. But yeah, I was saying in the last test go that, yeah, I've got a bit more time on my hands and I'm really happy that I have a bit of time to stream. But sorry for the notifications. Okay, right. Yeah, I'm not obviously the best at streaming because I'm not a streaming channel, so I don't have as much practice with this sort of thing, but I really enjoy doing them. So yeah, I'm very excited to be streaming. So if you're having issues with the quality, you can go on settings, I believe, and change that. I know that sometimes if it's a bit blurry, you can change it. But yeah, I'm going to be working in Die Welt Unter Lupe Lande. Let me just get this up to speed. Cool. Okay, so I'm using my Black Widow pencils as I normally do in Rita's books. I am playing around a lot with fine liners and pencil in conjunction. So I said in my recent fine liner video, I think, that I use as many fine liners now as I do pencils on my pages normally. And I thought what I would do is, as I'm going along, I'll just try and explain my process as much as I can with the fine liners, because I am considering doing some more videos with fine liners because I think they're a very underused media in our pages. So I am thinking of different ways that I can incorporate them into my future videos. But for now, I mean, this top of the mushroom that I've literally just done, I use the fine liners to go over with the shadow on these little extra stripe bits. So what I did was a base of pencil, and then I went over with the fine liner just to add a bit of shadow. I filled in the circles with them. I don't expect I'll be using them too much on this background bit for the mushroom, so I will go ahead and try and do that as quickly as I can so that we can get on to some more of the interesting bits in the mushroom. Thank you, Dawn. Hi, Courtney. Nice to see you. Oh, that's good to know, Michelle. Thank you. Yeah, I discovered them a while ago. I want to say it was during lockdown. And I started off with a pastel set of 6 Statler fine liners, or Stadler. I still don't know how you properly say that. And the 8 Stabilo. And the pastel ones are great for basing, but there is so much you can do with the brighter, darker colours as well. And I had a 20 set of Statler fine liners for school that I just used for, you know, when we were asked to do posters or, you know, like information sheets or whatever. So I always had those in the back of my cupboard. And once I realised the capabilities of them, they really are just, they've really changed my colouring for me. I've got this massive mug of fine liners, and I have said before in my videos, but the ones I'd recommend the most are the Statler ones. So I think I have 3 or 4 videos now on them. I've got the one that I did last year, the one that I did very, very recently. Sorry for the notifications, guys. And then I've got a tutorial video and maybe another one as well. So if I haven't already, I'll remind myself, let me write it down somewhere, to make a playlist so that you can find them all. But yeah, I think there's 3 or 4. So Michelle, I would say, yeah, the the Statler ones are my favourite, purely because they just feel really nice. I like the ergonomic design of them. I like the fact that they're triangular. And I think the tips are better. They don't wear down as easily. And they just stay nice and rounded for longer. Too many times with fine liners, especially the Stabilo ones, I do really like the colours of the Stabilo ones, but I do have issues with them sometimes. I'm not sure if you can see that. This is one that I've used quite a lot. Actually, no, that's not going to be a good example. I'm trying to find one that I've used quite a lot that's worn down, because what tends to happen is, yeah, like this is a Statler one, but I've used it so much. Because the nib wears down, it almost goes square at the bottom of the tip. You're not going to be able to see that. Sorry, it's really blurry. It goes square, and they're harder to use and to get a smoother layer on if you've worn them down. So the Statler ones don't wear down as easily. The Stabilo ones are nice. I don't think they're as smooth when they lay down, but they've got some lovely colours. And they've just released some more colours, I think. So I get these open stock at various art supply shops if they have them. The Arteza ones, I have the full set, the Inconic fine liners. They are lovely. They have some really light colours and really unusual colours, but they are a bit more dry. And I did have issues with some of them when I got my first set, and they ended up sending me a replacement set because quite a few of them had dried up. But they're nice too. And I think that's it really. I have a couple of random pens in here that aren't fine liners, but even if you have, I have these Ohuhu brush markers with the brush tip on one end and the fine liner on the other. So there even are some pens where you can get fine liners in a double-sided pen, but I would say the Statler ones. And if you can, the 60 set has the nicest range of colours. So I would recommend getting this one. I don't know if I showed in my video, but I have a swatch chart of all the colours. So this is a set I managed to get at Ryman's on sale for £10. I think normally on Amazon it's about 30. But these are all of the colours. They're just really beautiful. I have yet to try and incorporate the neons, but I'd like to. And there are lots of dark colours that are great for adding shadows. But equally, there are some really nice lighter colours that I gravitate towards a lot. So yeah, they're really lovely, and I've just been trying to use them as much as I can. But they do last a lot longer than pens, I find. You can keep a fine liner going for years and years. But yeah, I'm going to be using them. Oh, do you, Dawn? Yeah, I just think that they're very reliable. Really like them. Sorry for the lighting if it's a little bit bright on the screen. Right, I'm going to get started. So for the background of this mushroom, I'm doing a bit more layering than I'd normally do. So I think I might have said before in colour combinations videos, but what I tend to do, just so that I don't have to waste loads of time writing down at this stage, I just do a little key at the bottom. I just scribble down the colours that I'm using in the order that I'm using them for whichever part. So this was for the mouse, and then this is for the mushroom base, and then this colour combination is for these like teardrop bits on the mushroom. So it's just so that it's easy for me to remember what I'm using and in what order, instead of having a huge list by me. I'll write down the combinations after I finish the page. So that's one of the things that I really like to do, just to keep on track. Oh, don't worry, Dawn, that's absolutely fine. So I am layering 3 colours, and to be honest, the Black Widows have never had an issue with layering. I do think that you can get quite a lot out of them. I think they're really, really good pencils, and they work really well on this paper for me. I have tried other pencils, and I would like to do more pages with them. More Rita Berman pages with different pencils. So I've tried my Faber-Castell 100 set, and what else have I tried? I think I've used my luminance with my Black Widows at the same time, but I just keep coming back to these. But I think I will probably take my 100 Faber-Castell Black Edition set on holiday with me. So yeah, I'm literally just layering the colours on top of each other. Nothing special at all. And then I've got a shadow colour to go on top. So this, I would not normally layer this much. Normally I would just go in with my darkest colour, and that would be that. So, oh, no worries, Michelle. No, it's really nice when we get new colourists here, because I mean, as I said before, like, I'm learning all the time. And getting back to what I was saying on fine liners, like, I have, over the years of me using them, I've discovered new things about them all the time. And colour combinations are definitely the thing that I think most people struggle with to begin with. And it was definitely the case for me as well, because when I started, I would just want to use every single colour that I had. I did a picture in a romantic country book, and I had a 72 set of Prismacolors, and I just wanted to use as many as I could. And I quickly realised that for me, whilst I was having loads of fun doing that, I didn't want my pages to just be all colours of the rainbow all the time. And I have got pages where I've used lots of colours, and yes, they're not the most cohesive, but I've taken time to think about the colour palette. So sometimes when I start a page, I haven't even started it, straight away. I'll spend quite a lot of time just thinking about the colours that I'm using. So I can show you a bit later if you like. I've got a colour combinations book. I think I've got a couple of videos on colour combinations, but there is a website called Design Seeds, which I use quite a lot, which has colour palettes with 5 or 6 colours taken from a photo, which you can use as inspiration. Same with Pinterest. I think lots of people use that to find photos. If you want a sunset colour palette, you can just search it up and it will come up. Kind of like images that people would use for interior designing, I think. So I use those quite a lot. And I've got a colour combination book that pretty much does the same thing, except there are more colours per colour palette. There's about 8. But I would say the way that I choose colours is when I look at a page, I try and think about, for me, what jumps out at me, like what do I know that I want to colour. So for me, for this page, what jumped out at me was the mouse. And I was like, okay, well, I know I want the mouse to be brown, and that's what started me off. So I then thought, okay, well, what else on this page is going to be brown? What can I colour and get out of the way so that I've got less to colour? And that's how I tend to go about it. If there's something that's really obvious to me that screams out, I want that to be that colour, colouring it just gets some of the white space out of the way. So then I'm left with everything else. And because I knew there were strawberries on this page and I wanted to do them red, I then thought, well, pink and red, for me, I would quite like to add the pink just so that it's similar to the red, but it also gives a different, also a different colour as well, but they're very similar. So that's sort of how I've picked the colour palette. If you're struggling with too many colours to choose from, then I would just say, yeah, limit yourself. And if you've got a couple of colours that jump out at you, pick similar colours around those. So, if you're using green for the grass, like I am here, then maybe use a couple of different types of green. And I've put a bit of purple in here because purple and pink complement each other really well. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, I mean, I'm not an expert on any of this, but that's how I just go about it. Oh, Prisma 150 set. Oh, wow. Well, that's amazing. You can also, I think there's this website, which I found out about. I think it's like a colour picker website or something like that. And they have lots of different colour pencil sets, and you do a random colour generator and it picks 5 colours for you. And then it'll tell you what Prismacolor colour is the closest to that one, so that you can make your life easier when you're picking the colours. Hi, RD Hawkins. I use pencil, so I tend to just use pencil for all of the pages in Rita's books. I used to use pastel a lot, but no, I use pencil. So all I did was, I explained this in my completed pages, which will be going up in a couple of days. I layered 2 colours on top of each other, and then I blended with a Zest It blend. So I have this, and it's probably too old. I need to get some more. But this is, it's not natural, but it's a more natural alternative to like Gamsol, or like a different blending solution. This is mostly used for colour pencils, but it can be used for other things as well. Yeah, this is definitely way too old, and I probably should have got some more, but it still works fine. And what I do is I have this Zest It sponge, and I just put a few drops on it and then use a cotton bud to smooth out the pencil. And I'm not sure if you've seen on Instagram, but Rika Colour, she does these amazing pages where she borders off the background, and I've done that several times, and I wanted to try just doing essentially still a squared, like bordered off background, but more of a natural way of doing it. So I just use circular motions to create my own border, if you like, and then sort of blended it into nothing. So yeah, pencil backgrounds, they take a lot of time, but I quite like doing them, and I like the soft result of the background to complement with the other bits going on. Oh, you're welcome, Michelle. Yes, I agree. I think that the Black Widows are reasonable, especially if you don't have, you know, a lot of money to just splurge on a whole massive set. I think they're great because you can slowly build up your set, and that's something that I had to do, because when I found out about them, I was originally sent the 72 set by my lovely friend Sue, and 72 pencils was at that time all they had, and they had some brilliant colours. And even then, with the 72 pencils, I do think that they had some unusual ones in there, but for me it was the Monarch set. When they brought that out, I thought that is amazing, because they had so many pastel colours, really added to the colours they already had made. So yeah, I think they're really good. I don't think, although I love the Monarch set, I don't think getting the Monarch set would be enough just as a set on its own, because I think it's more to complement the other sets rather than as its own individual one. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'd really recommend the Zest It. It used to just be a thing within the UK. I'm hoping that people outside of the UK who find out about it are able to get it. I know I got mine from my local art shop. That one that I've got must be 4 or 5 years old. But I really like it, and I do use it. I keep coming back to it. Sometimes with my backgrounds I'll blend with a blender pencil, but sometimes it's just, it doesn't give a smooth texture all the time, and sometimes I just want, you know, a nice smooth finish on it. Yes, I think getting their whole Black Widow collection, I mean the amount of colours that they've got now, what is it, like 180? I mean, they've surpassed Prismacolor and Polychromos, and I wonder if they will keep adding to it, because I do still think there is scope for them to do that. I do think there is still missing areas in their collection. I've got my swatch chart here, the Emily Illustrator one. yeah, I think they could still do with a few more very light blues. The Pleasant Blue is a good one, but they don't have a really, you know, really light baby blue. I think that's one that they could definitely use. But I mean, I think overall though they've got a really good set. I just think maybe they've got some colours which I love, like these dark olive greens, but sometimes I find with some of the colours they just don't have enough dark tones. I think they could do with a couple more olive colours, or just really dark saturated colours. I mean, when I think about the Prismacolor set, they've got a couple of really really unusual tones. Michelle, so when I bought the sponge, I thought there was going to be zested solution in it, and I bought it, and I think it's empty. So when I bought it, I was quite annoyed because the sponge didn't have anything in it, and I think what it says it's pre-dampened with 15 milliliters, but it wasn't that much. I think I managed to use this for a little bit of time, but I had to use a pipette to just put a bit of the actual solution onto the sponge. I'll show you. It's really dirty because I've used it so much. So you could, I mean, what I used to do was put a bit of the zested solution just into the bottle top and use a cotton bud just straight from that. But the problem with that is you then get too much saturation of the zested blend and it'll just seep right through your page until it dries up. So it doesn't, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily fork out for the zested sponge if I were you. I would, if you have a sponge around the house, use that instead, or even just a cotton wool pad or ball or something like that. Just put a few drops onto that and lift it with a cotton bud that way. Because that sponge that I bought, I think it was about £6 or £7, and I didn't really think that there was any solution on it. Maybe I just got a bad one, but it was quite dry. Oh, the wax version. Oh, of zested blend solution. I haven't tried that one. I know they do quite a few different products. The only one that I've tried is this pencil blend. So I can't say whether that would work as well for colour pencils. I mean, the reason I got this one was because it was a colour pencil blend. No worries. Oh, Michelle, yeah, backgrounds are tricky. They're the thing that sometimes put me off a page. There's too much white space. I'm like, oh, well, I don't know how to tackle it. So I do think there are many cases where you can just leave a background white, and I have done that many times, because sometimes they're just not needed. And you know, if it's going to take a lot of extra time to do one, then I would just say, yeah, leave it in that case. But that's why I normally get the background out of the way, because after I did all the brown on this page, that was the next thing I did. And I do think that it helps to just make everything pop off the page a bit more. It makes it a lot easier. So I think sometimes they're really valuable to do early on in the process, because it then makes everything so much clearer. So this colour combination I'm using for the teardrop bits, I'm hoping to use on some of the flowers on this this top of the mushroom as well. It's one of my favourites. I've literally just got a couple of pencils and thought, oh well, I hope this will do. And it was, I'll show you, it was brown bug, which is from the Scorpion set, washed purple from the skin dark set, and mushroom from the Monarch. And yeah, I didn't do any layering, I just went from one to the other, and it doesn't look like they would go together, but I actually think the colour combination is quite unusual. I really like it. Sometimes I can just get bored of using the same, same colour combinations all the time. So it's nice trying to come up with different things sometimes. Trying to be as quick as I can, but I'm being quite slow with this. If you'd like me to zoom in, let me know, because I can. So I hope you all doing well. And yeah, I know it has been a while since I have done anything on my channel, really. The colour combinations video that I put out a couple of weeks ago, I'd already had pre-filmed to go up whilst I was away, so I hadn't filmed a video for about a month, so it felt really strange sitting down to do my completed pages this morning, and yeah, not having done a video for a while. So I am putting that out on the 1st, as I normally do, and I have a couple more videos planned, but I'm hoping to also pre-film a few more before I go away to Croatia, just so that I can keep the content going. But then I find out my results for uni in a few weeks, and I'm gonna have to sort out what I'm gonna do about content, because I really want to continue with my channel, and I need to do a proper routine if I want to be able to continue with it, which I do, obviously, because I love doing this. So there are still some things on this page I'm really not sure about yet, what I want the colours to be, but I'm just doing it bit by bit, and that's really helping. So if you've got children, are they on their summer holidays, and are they enjoying it? I know for me, I've definitely been enjoying the break so far, but I'm working tomorrow, and then I think I've got 2 days off this week, and then I'm starting a 5-day shift. I say 5-day shift, I don't mean that, like 5 days in a row. And then I'm off. So that's going to be quite draining, I think. So I don't know how much time I will have, how much time I'll have when I feel like colouring after I've been working all day. But I'm sure I will get around to doing some. So many tiny areas on this page. Don't know about you guys if you're a fan of Rita Berman, but I'm very excited for her new book. Can't wait. I love all of her books, but I am always excited for a new one. I do like that I keep coming back to her books. Normally, as my colouring progresses and I go through go through different books, I tend to leave the ones that I first started with behind, but with hers I just seem to work on all of them in turn. I try to anyway. Oh wow, Michelle, how lovely. Hope you're enjoying it. I have the luxury this year of having a bit more time off because I mean, it's still been a very busy summer so far, but because I finished my A levels earlier than when the actual school year finishes, I think I had an extra 3 weeks. Maybe was it 3? No, maybe it was 4. So I finished on the 20th of June, and normally school years finish middle of July, so I think it was 4. But it was really nice. At first, when I finished, I didn't know what to do with myself because I was having like withdrawal symptoms, you know, not having to revise. Felt very odd. But I was busy right after, and I had 2 weeks of still being at college because I had a piano concert to prepare for and still go and have lessons for. So I wasn't completely free from college. I love college, so I'm really sad that I'm not going to be going back as much. But I also had quite a few friends in the lower sixth, so I will go and see them in September. But yeah, depending on which uni I go to, I might have 2 weeks in September off, or I might have the whole of September off. So I will have to see what ends up happening. I'm quite nervous for results though. I think I just want to know if it's good news. I want to know. But yeah, we'll see. Oh, how amazing, Michelle! Congratulations to her. That's amazing. I always forget how soon graduation just comes around for people because, you know, of course at school and college we don't really have graduation. It was very weird this year. We just had a last day, but our last day was before any of the exams. So of course I was coming into college all of the time to revise and have my piano lessons and do the exams, and we'd already had our last day. It felt really bizarre because that was technically our, you know, end. You know, our, not that it was called a graduation, but that was our last day. Yeah, it was really, really, really bizarre. And yeah, it just felt weird to keep going back, even though we had our last day. But my last day really was the 3rd of July when I had my concert. But yeah, I'm sure I will go back and see my friends in September at some point. My brother Tom, he's also going to the same college. So that'll be good. I'm sure I will pop in if I can at some point, although he probably won't want me though, which is fair enough. I need to let him make his own memories there as well. Although I think his experience will be very, very different to mine because we're doing completely different subjects, and I think the buildings that he is going to be in are going to be completely different, and his timetable might be as well. I mean, I did music, so all of my friends in my class, there were 12 of us, we would part the scholarship course, so we all had the same interests. We were all put together on the first day, and it just made sense. And you know, they've been my friend group for 2 years, and I made friends in my other classes, but I didn't really see them outside of class because I would go up to the music that house block a lot. And for Tom, he's doing film studies, history, and geography, I think. So you know, his humanities, I didn't really, only music technically counts as a humanity at university, which is what I'm hoping to do. But yeah, I think he will have a completely different experience, which is just exciting. think he's really going to love it. I promise I'll move on to something else after I finish this. I just don't like leaving stuff half done. If I move on to something else, it will be really difficult for me to come back to the rest of the background of the mushroom top. So I do need to just finish it. So have any of you got plans for the summer? We've had awful weather here the last few days and it's still a bit bleak this evening. But a few weeks ago we had, before I left, we had absolutely boiling weather. And I'm just hoping that once we go away, the weather doesn't dip, because you know, it'll just be our luck that when we go away to Croatia, the weather won't be as good. But it should be okay. Okay. It's really hard to see some of these areas. Hi again, Courtney. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Thank you guys for joining. Really, really appreciate it. Yeah, I wasn't expecting anybody to join, because normally if I do a stream, I'll put up one of the, you know, I'll schedule it and it will show up on my channel a few hours in advance. But I just had a couple of hours free. I wasn't planning on doing a live stream today, but I'm really happy that I have. It gives me a chance to get some content up as well, but also do some colouring. I've really missed this. Saying I didn't take any colouring away with me because I just didn't think I would get any done, and I'm glad I didn't take any, because I wouldn't have. I took a travel journal, but even then I didn't finish that. I need to go back and revisit some of the days. That was my creative outlet, and I'm glad I didn't take all the colouring stuff, because I just would not have had time. That's the same. I need to be careful when we go away. I don't want to take too many colouring things, because I just know I won't get round to them. So yeah, I'm not sure what books I'm going to take yet. But I'm sure I will figure it out. Definitely some Rita Berman. I wouldn't be surprised if there were Rita Berman. But I'm not going to take any, you know, like special hardback books, probably, because I just don't want them to get ruined. I'm thinking I'm going to do the strawberries next. There's only a couple, but I have a colour palette for them already, which I will get out in a second. And whilst I'm at it, I might show my colour combination book. When I first looked at this page, I thought I was going to do bright red tops for the mushrooms. So it's really interesting to see how my initial colours change. It's definitely coming out more muted, but yeah. Oh, Michelle, yeah, the which is your favourite Kirby book? I'm intrigued, because he's done so many now. And I do think his style has changed a lot since he first started. I don't work in his books much now. I used to though. Anamorphia was one of the first books I got, and I remember working in that quite a lot. But I think because my style's changed, his books just, I don't gravitate towards them as much. I think because his really, really detailed stuff in his recent books are, you know, less of my thing. But oh, Mythic World. Yeah, I've only been able to tackle one of his in that. It's quite intimidating. The romantic country books are gorgeous. I know what you mean about them being expensive though. I hope, I haven't checked, but I hope at least the first one and the second one are still on Amazon UK. If not, your best bet is Amazon Japan, because if you go through Etsy, it's gonna cost a lot more. So if I'm ever looking for a Japanese book, I would always check there first. I think normally the books, most of them are on there for about 1,400 yen, which I think works out to about 10 or 11 pounds. And the shipping is, I think, about 7 or 8 pounds converted. But I don't think, depending on how many books you get, the shipping cost shouldn't change. So, I mean, I've only ever bought one book on its own, but I think when I added them to my cart, if I had about 5 books in my cart, I think the shipping stayed the same. I could be wrong, but the shipping is incredibly fast. Within a week normally. So it is worth having a look on there. And the Japanese books, from what I've heard, have much better paper than the English editions. So it is worth, worth checking out. Hi, Dawn. Yeah, the romantic country books are lovely. Again, I think the second book was the first one I had. And I got that Easter 2017. And that was the page I was talking about, where I was just putting down a random selection of colours onto my page. Right, this is the last bit, I think, unless I've missed something. I don't think I have. Right. I like layering like this sometimes because I don't have to use a blender pencil. It all just blends itself out. Thank you, Dawn. Yeah, now that I've started these mushroom heads, it's all coming together a bit more. Yesterday I hadn't done the background or anything else, and I'd just done the mouse and the brown, and it was just looking very, you know, beige and brown. So I'm happy that I've added some more colour to it. So I'm going to get my colour combination book to share with you, and my bullet journal from last year, which has my colour combination for the strawberries. So I hope you can hear me, sorry. I think Lavella from Lavella's Colouring also has the colour combination book. I think either she discovered it, or I can't remember if she said she saw it on my video, but this is the one that I really love, and I've used it quite a lot. So this one has lots of different sections, and you get the colour combination. This is what I use the most. you also get each colour broken down as well. And then on the other side, which I think is really good, if you just want to use 2, 3, 4 or 5 colours rather than the 8 that they normally give you, I think it's always 8, then they've put them in different groupings so that you can see the different colours. Now, I think this is on Amazon. That's where I got mine. Some of them definitely aren't for me. Like some of the really bright ones I'm never going to use, but there are some gorgeous ones in here that I have used for pictures in the past, and I've always made sure to share them when I have, you know, against my pages so that you can see. And sometimes I merge them together as well. But another cool feature with this book is if you've got a colour in mind that you want to use, you can go to the index at the back, and then it will correspond to a colour palette. So if I knew I wanted to use the brown that I've used, I'm just trying to pick a colour that's fairly similar to what I've used. Maybe this one. So this corresponds to page 222. And then that's a colour palette created for you based on that colour that you knew you wanted to use. So that's one way. Another way you can do it is there are lots of keywords. So if, let's see if mouse was, they don't have everything on here. Yeah, no, I don't think that's on there. Maybe mushroom. Let's have a look. Maybe not. I don't know, but I don't know. Say you wanted. Let's have a look. Trying to find a really obvious one. Okay, let's see if strawberry's on here because we're about to colour a strawberry. I'd be very surprised if there wasn't strawberry. Oh my gosh, there isn't. Okay, raspberry. Let's go raspberry. So page 50. So that's the picture, and then that's the corresponding colour palette. So there's a lot of ways that this can be used, and I really like it. It shouldn't be too expensive. There are lots in here, like those dark ones that I wouldn't use, but they're split off into sections, so not all of the sections are going to be applicable for your pages. But I've used this countless times for pages, so that's really, really good. And this is my old bullet journal, so I'm just going to try and find the colour palette now. So I did a wave page with lots of fruit and waves, obviously, last year. And I wrote down the colour combination. See, this is why it's helpful for me, because I can come back to this and just use the same colour palette again. So the strawberry colour palette's here. So I'm just going to get the colours now. And what's really handy is the strawberries. The brown bug colour is one that I've already used on this page. So it means that it's going to be a bit more cohesive already. Hi, Shannon. How are you? Thank you so much for that. That's really helpful. That's really helpful for anyone interested. I think I got it from Amazon UK, so I know it should be on there unless they've taken it off. But that's really good to know that it is on Amazon US as well. But yeah, that is the most sort of condensed book that I've found that has so many colour combinations in. The other thing I'd recommend, which again I have shown quite a few times I think in videos, is this Wildflowers book, which has everything broken down into months, and there are loads of pages with all of these beautiful flowers on. So you could take a page like this one, for example, and use that page as a colour combination. Bearing in mind you also have realistic paintings of the flowers to help you. What I often use this for is if I'm stuck on what a flower is, I'll either search it up and find an actual photo, and I will normally try and find it in here as well. So there's, again, an index at the back with the scientific names and the the common names as well. There are less pages for the autumn and winter months, but that's to be expected because there aren't as many flowers and things for those times. There's more just berries and leaves and things. So there's a lot for June and July, I seem to remember. But yeah, it's gorgeous. So I would recommend that as well if you're into colouring flowers a lot. And even for me, if I sort of have an idea of what I want the flowers to look like for this page, but if I didn't, I could try and find a picture that went with the colours I'd already picked for this page. Thank you, Shannon, that's really helpful, thank you. Sorry, I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee. So yeah, I hope that's helpful in some way. So we've got a brown bug, which I've already got. Bloodshot. Fire and light yellow. Oh, and I've got my Poscas as well. Sorry for the notification. Right. Just going to sharpen these. This dial sharpener I've got, by the way, I have never looked back since I've got this. I've had this for at least a year now, I think. And I love it. I haven't had to replace it yet either, which is nice because normally with sharpeners I have to replace them all the time. It's really refreshing that I haven't had to. I'm sure I will at some point, just because I don't want anything, you know, once I start to see my pencils, you know, not being sharpened as well, then I will get it replaced. Yeah, it's the Dell 133. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's brilliant. I think it's a bit more expensive than what it used to be, but it's definitely worth it. Now, the only thing I haven't written down, that's helpful. The only thing I didn't write down was the leaves, but that's not a problem because I haven't figured out the greens that I want to use yet on this page, so that doesn't matter. So I will just, yeah, that doesn't matter. I'll just ignore that. So my strawberries, they aren't very, very realistic, but sorry for the notification again. They're not that realistic, but they're my way of achieving and somewhat realistic, and you know, they're fairly easy to do. So I might zoom you in actually, because this is quite a small area. So yeah, all I do is go over these seed bits with the yellow, and then everything else, which is quite tricky to do because yellow is quite light, everything else I just fill in with fire, just to get a red base in there. And then I'm going to go over with brown bug for the shadows. Now, I don't want to do too much of this just because I've really got quite a lot of brown bug on the actual you know, background as such, you know, for the top of the mushroom. So I'm just using this as a shadow really. Like that. And then we're going with Bloodshot, which is quite a bright red. And just blend it in a bit more. And then fire again. Go over all of the red bits, and that pretty much should be blended out. I don't think I will need a blender pencil. And then to finish it off, I go in with the light yellow just to smooth everything out, and I just do a base over the entire thing, which just helps the yellow to blend in a bit more with the red. Apologies. And then brown bug for a final shadow, just for the top. Now I'm going to do the Posca in a minute, but I want to just do the other one first back here before I do that one. Now this one's going to be a bit harder because there aren't really many obvious seeds on this one. But yeah, apologies, I'll do my best. Also a bit smaller, so I'm sorry if you can't see it very well. So normally this is what I tend to do with an object. I'll have a base colour. In this case, I've sort of got two base colours because of the seeds. You have a base colour, and then a middle colour, and then the dark. But for an area that's so small, like this strawberry, I probably didn't need 3. You know, but for something bigger, I might use more. Go. There we go. Right. So now I'm going to go over with my Poscas. Now I think this yellow one came in a pack of 8 pastel ones. This is sunshine yellow. And then I have yellow, and I'm pretty sure I found this at WH Smith for like £1, just on a deal or something, in the clearance. But this darker yellow is quite bright. All I do is do a dot for the seeds. And then the lighter one, I'm just going to go in another few more. And it's quite nice because adding the dots just sort of covers up the black circles that have been created for the seeds, but I prefer just adding the dots with the yellow. So that's really how I colour strawberries. There's not much more to it really. I might go back in and add a bit more shading later on, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So the only thing I need to do now is make sure that those colours are incorporated somewhere else on the page. Otherwise I'm going to have a random red bit in amongst everything else. So I think what I'm tempted to do is do the berries red, but slightly darker. So I might do that. But I do know for the berries I want to do some of the stems, I don't mean stems, I mean the branches. I want to do them with fine liner. So the reason I didn't have any fine liner for the strawberries was because this was before I started using fine liners a lot on my pages. But I will definitely use fine liner as a base for the leaves because they're just very small and it makes sense to just fill them in quickly. I don't think I've missed any, but it's really hard to tell. No, I think I have missed a bit of background. Okay. Thank you, Michelle. I'm sort of just experimenting with this page. Normally I would normally have a set out plan for something that I'm doing for a live stream, but it's really nice to just not really have a plan and wing it. I think I might have missed another bit as well. Oh my gosh. Okay. Right. So yeah, I want those stems to be brown and these ones. Sorry, I'm probably not going to be able to see this now. I'm going to zoom you back out. Okay. That's everything. I don't yet know what I want to do with the buds, but I will figure that out. So yeah, I'm going to do the berries slightly differently because I don't need the yellow. So I could have done a fine liner base for this stage, but with red, if I do a fine liner base, it tends to come out very, very bright because don't really, at least I haven't found any muted reds. I've got a couple, but it still ends up being bright. So yeah, I'm just using a pencil base for this. So very, very similar thing with the berries. I colour berries quite a lot as well. I do have a, oh, I did write down my colour combination for the berry leaves. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's very similar. So base with the light red, shadowing with the dark. Blend with the medium. Originally I was going to do these berries probably a slightly different colour, but I'm glad that I've changed my mind because otherwise there wouldn't have been any other red on this page. So I just am wary sometimes when I'm adding a completely new part to the page in. I don't want it to just be really obvious. So I think now, because I definitely haven't blended this out enough, the ivory, the Faber-Castell ivory, is a lifesaver pencil. I use this all the time for highlighting and blending. It's just so good. Yeah, and then I'm going to go in and just add shadow. I'm really sorry because I never tend to get that much done on a live stream. Just talking too much and then I don't get enough done. I am going to go in with a fine liner though, if I can find it. Did I put it back? Oh my gosh. No, that's the wrong one. Oh dear. Got it. So yeah, they're not too bright for me. That's turning out all right. Sometimes when I've got a page like this where it's all fairly muted, I just don't want anything too bright. Oh no, it's raining really badly outside. Oh gosh. Although I was in Paris for 4 days this week and the weather was terrible. It was much better than we thought it was going to be on the first couple of days. It didn't rain, it was just very cloudy. But the last 2 days, oh my gosh. not good. But I had packed some clothes. I packed one pair of jeans and a long sleeve top. And I'm glad that I did, because I hadn't worn them at all throughout my trip because it was just so hot everywhere else. So at least they came in handy. But it was a shame that it rained so much, but it's still very pretty. Whilst I'm at it, I'm going to do some layering with the fine liner. Excuse me. So the branch that I've just based, I'm going to go in with a slightly different fine liner. Now I'm not sure if I'm going to have the right sort of tone. No, I think I'm going to have to find my set. I don't want anything too dark, so I might have to go in with pencil. Yeah, I don't really have anything actually, so I'll go in with pencil. Normally for an area this small I would try and find a fine liner, but it doesn't matter. I've got a dark brown that I've already used. Oh, sorry, I just shook the camera. Right, where is it? Here. Yeah, so I'm just going in and adding shadow with a pencil now, but I found myself wanting to use fine liner more for this step just because it's so much easier. There we go. And it's also quite good just for me to add a little bit of brown just amongst all of the colours, because there's going to be a lot of colours on this and a lot of brown down here. So I think it's just good adding a bit just so that it's not, you know, brown and colourful. You know, there's not a split. Right. I'm just going to do these other berries. I don't actually know how long I've been on. I think definitely over an hour. Don't want to be on too long. Yeah, okay. Just over an hour. It's in shot. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these berries technically aren't the same as these ones, but I'm just going to make them the same. So, same thing again. Nope, that's brown. If you're interested in Black Widows as well, you can get them open stock from the seller on Facebook, which is what I did a while ago, and I shared them in a haul, but I haven't actually broken into any of them yet because my pencils have lasted a lot longer than I thought. So I bought these, bought 9 I think, really inexpensive. I think they were maybe 180 each, something like that. And then the shipping, because they're from Australia, the shipping was quite a lot, but it actually wasn't too expensive. And it's much better doing open stock than having to rebuy a whole set. But yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about the seller and doing the open stock actually. And not many people know about buying the Black Widows open stock, because I think most people class them as like a budget pencil. And most budget pencils, as we know, don't do open stock, but yeah, they're fab. I've got so many videos to catch up on because I really didn't watch that much when I was away. yeah, I'm looking forward to catching up a bit now that I have an opportunity. Yeah, I've missed doing this. And I know that I've been fairly absent anyway, just from my channel in general with my exams and stuff. So it is good to be getting back. Cool. Okay. Okay, these flowers, I'm really not sure if I want to do them all the same colour, which I don't think would be, yeah, I don't think that would be wise. But I do think that I want this, I didn't know what I wanted this big flower to be, but I think I've changed my mind. I do want it to be this colour combinations that I was talking about, the teardrop one. So I think I'm going to do that, and then I might have a few of the smaller flowers being different colours instead. I think that might work better. I really like that colour combo. I want to use it more. So, as I said, it was brown bug, washed purple, and mushroom. Yeah. I might not get all of this done. I don't want to be on for too long. Yeah, I'll just base some of these areas. And I think what I might do as a contrast is use the sherbet colour, which was the extra colour just on the outside of them. Might zoom in again. Just as a nice, yeah, nice contrast colour. So sherbets are really nice. Bright colour to use, I like that one. It's going to be really weird having more of this page done and then it's still being fairly, you know, unfinished at my completed pages. Right, so this is hopefully fairly simple. It's just brown bug as the darkest colour, going in with a shadow. And normally what I would do is go right to the edge with these, with the dark colours, but I want the same effect as the teardrop. So I think I'm going to leave the edges lighter. So I think I do want to try and use less of this washed purple though, because it does grey everything out a bit otherwise. So I'd love to know what you're all working on, what page you're working on currently, and if you have lots of whips. This is currently the only whip I have, and I'm hoping to keep it that way, where I only have one whip at a time now, one or two. I have some long-standing whips, but I don't want too many, especially if I'm going away. Hi Mona, how are you? Oh, of course, I forgot it's morning for most people. I know this isn't always the best time for everyone, but appreciate you joining. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, this brown bug is one of my favourites. Oh, I love this colour. It's so good. Works for anything. I use it with browns, with pinks, with purples. Really nice. Oh, that's good to hear, Mona. I don't know if it's just me, but it's turning out a little bit less bright than these. Don't know why, but I'll leave it. And then I'm going to go in with the fine liner, as I was talking about, just over the sherbet for a shadow. I think I'm going to do the middle, the sherbet colour as well. The only thing with doing petals with so many different colours is it does take time. I love colouring flowers, but they do take time. But they're one of my favourite things. I normally gravitate towards nature stuff and animals in favour of portraits. But I really like that we all have our different styles, you know, we're all drawn to different things. Because I know some people who really don't like colouring flowers, and that's absolutely fine. And, you know, I do get sick of them sometimes if it's just a whole page of flowers. I think the thing that I really like about this is it's a proper scene. And there are other things going on in the picture. But I do have to be in the mood. If it's a Layla Dooley page with just loads of flowers, I normally do just do it bit by bit, and I normally have another whip going on at the same time, otherwise it gets a bit much. Just trying to work out what's a leaf and what's a flower. Sorry, petal. Okay. So if I keep this up, I might be able to finish this in the next few days. Which would be good. Because this has been a buddy colour for a while, and I'm not sure if my friend Michelle has finished hers. Yeah, what I'll probably do is just do a little bit more of this, but I will head out soon. Oh yes, Michelle. So I would say you definitely could. What normally happens for me is if I use a wax-based pencil, I mean, as has been established now over the years, every pencil has oil and wax in it, but some, like Prismas, are more waxier than others. And if you layer loads with the Prismas and get a really sort of buffed finish and you know, lots of wax bloom, then the fine liners aren't going to work as well. And what sometimes happens with me, and this isn't just with Prismas, this is with the Black Widows or Luminance, is you try and go over with the fine liner and you just end up scrubbing away some of the pencil, and then you get it on the nib. So I wouldn't use fine liners over the top of pencil if you've done loads of layering with them. They're better for basing in that case. Or yeah, you're better just not using them at all. I think they're great in conjunction with pencils that don't have too much of a, you know, a shiny finish to them. They do work if you're just going over once. You know, if you're just doing a few added lines for, you know, extra effect. Like if I'm going over this now and adding a couple of lines in, it's fine. The other thing that can sometimes make them a little bit more difficult to use like that is that if you go over a really shiny waxy surface with them, they don't dry quite as easily, so you would have to leave your page for a lot longer for them to fully dry properly. Whereas if you're using them on an area that hasn't really been layered with that much, then it's a lot easier to, a lot easier for them to dry. Oh, you're welcome. No worries. But yeah, I've used them with Prisma. I haven't had too many issues with them. But I don't layer with them as much as I know some people do, so I don't tend to have that problem quite as much. I think I'm just going to layer this, and then I'll do the middle of the flower. So from being a bit quiet, I'm just trying to concentrate. This. And with these bits that I'm just filling in, the reason I am just filling them in is because I'm going to go over with the fine liner, so I'm not too worried about there being any shading on these tiny areas. Okay, so I think I want the middle of the flower to be this shower colour, maybe with a bit of the yellow. Sort of winging it now. I don't have any lighter fine liner colours. Let me get a pink. That'll do. Yeah, some areas like this where they're just really tiny, I just go over with fine liner and add shading if I want to. Which I probably will do, but this is why they're so great. Because I think originally when people started using fine liners on their pages, it was mainly just to fill in tiny areas, but they are great. Great for other things as well. So this sherbet colour is quite orangey actually. But I do think it's more of a peach tone, which is why it's really good. Yeah, really good for the centre of this flower, because I didn't want to do orange for the centre because I don't have any orange on the page yet. So I think this will suit it, especially if I use the yellow, because there's not going to be many other places on this page where I use yellow. So this is one of the times where I would now go over with fine liner, just to add in a bit more shadow and definition. That's really what that's really the reason why I use them at this stage after pencil. Just like you would with a darker pencil shade. I don't know what to do with the middles of. Those. Might just colour them with the sherbet and then go over with the purple that we've been using. So I have just burnished that, but the fine liner can still go over it. And another thing I quite like doing is getting a cotton bud or something and just, if I've done quite a lot of fine liner, you can just dab it and lift some of the colour. It always works quite nicely. Just so that if you realise something's too dark, you can lift it away. That's only if you are applying the fine liner over pencil. If you obviously just put fine liner straight onto the page, you're not going to be able to do that, because it'll just seep right into the paper. Okay, so I think I'm pretty much happy with that. Of course, I haven't finished this flower yet, but hopefully you've seen how I've gone about it, and I don't think I'm going to have time to finish this, so I don't want to be on for too long, and these petals do take quite a long time, so I think I'm going to leave it there. Also, I've been talking non-stop and I've not been used to doing that, so yeah, it's difficult for me to get back into it. Excuse my voice. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed. I know it was a really impromptu live stream, but if I get an opportunity over the next couple of weeks before I go away, I will try and live stream again. Probably won't be with this page. It might be with a different one. Most likely, if I'm live streaming again, it will be late afternoon or evening for me. So that might be, you know, depending where you are in the world, that will obviously be a slightly different time. But yeah, I've really enjoyed doing this and had a lot of fun. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Shannon. Yeah, I'm excited to continue this, and I think my plan for this will probably be finish the reds, the pinks, the purples, all of those bits, and then do the green. That's what I tend to do. If I've got so many, you know, green bits to do, I just leave them until the end. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing this. I'm really getting into it. I wasn't sure about it when I'd just done the brown, but I'm yeah, happier with how it's looking now. Thank you, Mona. Don't worry at all. Don't worry. I really appreciate you joining. And yeah, hopefully it should upload in a few hours. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for joining. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to email me or, you know, leave a comment. I'm almost caught up with comments. So yeah, but yeah, I'm always open. My email should be in the description. But yeah, I will leave you all to have a lovely rest of your days, and I will have my completed pages up on the 1st, and yeah, hopefully a couple more live streams and videos to come as well. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.